Hey everybody. People always ask me, Manny, what tools should I be using for my Amazon business? Well, this episode is brought to you by helium10.com. These are the same tools I use to generate 6 figures per month with Amazon FBA. I get keyword research, product tracking, listing optimization, search term tracking, account monitoring, and a lot of other brand new money pulling tools that are going to be released to Helium 10 members on a regular basis. If you're going to grab any tools, check these out. Seriously, get a massive advantage with the tools that top sellers are using right now. Okay, and they're all in one place. Some tools and services will have a user cap, so get in there as quickly as you can. That's helium10.com, helium10.com.
Warning, the following podcast has been classified as insanely lucrative. Listener discretion is advised.
And you guys probably know how damaging getting a 1-star review can be for those for sales on that particular day, because it shows up right there at the top of your reviews.
Your attention, please. Listening to the AM/PM podcast may cause recurring revenue streams and unfair advantages over your competitors. Other side effects may include fatter wallets, fired bosses, and longer vacations. Listen at your own risk. Here's your host, 7-figure entrepreneur and online marketing madman, Manny Coates. Manny Coates.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AM/PM podcast. My name is Manny Coates, and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show. As a matter of fact, I had a pretty terrible day electronic-wise. I had my MacBook crash and my PC crash, so both of them at the same time, essentially the same day. Got a new PC here. I'm setting up everything, including the podcast software, microphones, everything else. And while I was doing that, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. So if the podcast sounds different, it's probably because some of the settings are not quite yet set correctly. I'll be setting everything up here shortly. But I was reading a post where somebody was talking about customers that they thought were potentially trying to scam them or were fighting them on charges. And a lot of effort seemed to be used or spent on this particular thing. Now, the way I look at it is for every minute that you're spending on that kind of a thing, you're not spending that minute on business development. And it really isn't worth, at least to me, it's not worth the amount of time put into it. Why fight a customer on it? If you're going to fight a customer, you're going to end up getting burned at some point, right? They're probably going to leave you a bad review or a bad seller feedback or just refund it. And I get it. I understand when somebody is complaining about something that you know is absolutely false, or even you might even get a return and the product isn't your product. That's happened to some people, right? It's just crazy, but you just got to roll with the punches. So let me tell you about a scenario that I ran into just recently, actually. I had this customer, okay? She ended up ordering 2 of my products. Okay, it was around $90 for both units. And it wasn't too long after she received the products that she emailed the company, emailed me, and said that she had found another product that looks almost identical to the product that she just bought from me, and that the pricing on those was almost $20 per unit less. It was almost half the price. And she thought it was outrageous. How could I do this? She was going to be returning the products and getting a refund and then ordering the other products. And she kind of left it a little open for me to respond. And I did. I responded very quickly. And this is important, guys. This is why you don't want to wait till the next day. First of all, Amazon wants you to respond within 24 hours to customer complaints or customer issues. So if you can get to it right away, and I got to it within the hour, then you can resolve things pretty easily, hopefully amicably. So here's what happened. I responded back to this person very nicely, and I told her, I started off by saying that I totally understand where she's coming from, but I wanted to point out a few things, some differences between the products that she's probably looking at versus the products that I sell. Okay? And again, I started off very nicely, saying, I understand your concerns. Let's see if I can help you out, right? You want to disarm them a little bit, okay? I pointed out to her that the price point of the products that she's mentioning were actually lower than my cost of actually manufacturing and selling this unit, my product, my brand, on Amazon. And this is absolutely true. The price point that she quoted was less than my product once I factor in the manufacturing costs, the shipping of the product to get it out here, all of Amazon's referral fees and FBA fees. Okay, you add that all in, and it was right about the same price, very close to the price of the other product. Okay, So I wanted to make sure that she understood that I wasn't trying to gouge her on cost. I also explained to her very nicely that just because a product looks exactly the same in the photos and on the outside, or very similar to what she ended up purchasing, doesn't mean that it's the same product, that the internals, the insides of this unit could be completely different. And this was an electronic product, so to speak. It's partially electronic. I explained to her that we go through rigorous testing, that these other products might not go through these testing procedures, that their products might only last a short amount of time before failing. Worse yet, if they fail, could they potentially cause a fire or have some kind of a hazardous effect? And then finally, I finished off with stating that the product that I sell has a 1-year manufacturer's money-back guarantee warranty on it, okay? 1 year. So the cost difference, which was right around $20, if she were to factor that out over the entire year, was less than 1 cent per day for that first year. And then after that, it would be free. But 1 cent per day to have the peace of mind of knowing that if anything happens whatsoever within a year, she could return it and get her money back. So those were the steps I made. I have a template that I use. It was very fast. And she ended up responding. And instead of being very angry like she was in the first email, she actually thanked me for getting back to her. And she mentioned that she was on a fixed income and that every dollar helps, and that she didn't know that there would be other products, and she would actually consider getting a cheaper product because of her situation with her fixed income. So my response back to her was sympathizing with her situation. So she said she was on a fixed income and that every dollar counted. So I essentially said, I understand fixed income. I myself operate on slim margins. So let me do something for you. Let me go in and deduct $10 off the purchase price of each unit. I will refund $20 on your order. That's what I ended up saying. In different words, but that's essentially the bulk of what I said. She responded back that would be super helpful, and she couldn't believe I was doing it, and she was just thrilled with it. So the customer was satisfied, more than satisfied. She got the products that she wanted in the first place. She got a price point now that was similar to the other ones. It wasn't as good of a price point, but she was happy with everything, right? And she knows she has 1 year, if there's ever an issue, to return it. So in the end, I still made a couple bucks per unit. I saved the refund. For sure it was going to be a refund. And then I would have had to deal with that particular unit that comes back into Amazon, right with the damaged packaging, or at least the open packaging. And in the end, she left me 2 reviews. She left me a seller feedback review. Okay, it was 5 stars. And she also left me a product review, which was 5 stars. So I got 2 5 stars out of this. And I'm confident, I'm fairly certain that due to my autoresponder, the customer contact system that I have going out these emails to follow up with people and request reviews and seller feedback, they would have ended up in very poor results from this lady had I not done that. Probably 1 star. And you guys probably know how damaging getting a 1-star review can be for those for sales on that particular day, because it shows up right there at the top of your reviews until that can get pushed down over time, hopefully sooner than later, but it still affects sales when people see that. So all of that was done away with. Instead of trying to fight her and argue with her about something, or just letting her go through the process, a few minutes were spent and that was it. It was finished. Now, obviously, if you're very busy, all of this can be handled by your virtual assistant or personal assistant, whatever kind of assistant you have, whoever's handling this, so you don't have to deal with it. And if you've got templates in place, then they can copy and paste and just kind of edit a few things as needed. As I mentioned, I also saved the refund, right? And that's important long term. If Amazon sees that you're getting too many refunds on your products or on a particular ASIN, then you might potentially, you're going to run into issues. They can block your listing. It was just positive all the way across the board. And I can tell you right now that my product is the most expensive product on the market for this particular niche, for what I'm doing. Okay, anything that's even similar to mine, I've got the highest price point. Okay, by almost double the price in many instances. So this doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, it's just worth refunding either the whole thing or a portion of it, and just not having to deal with the consequences of it all. So if I'm only doing this once every few hundred orders, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect my bottom line that much. Okay, so I guess the point in all of this is try not to spend time being too prideful, fighting with a customer over something when you don't have to. You can turn what could be potentially a negative situation into a positive one. You're going to make them happy. They're going to refer you to their friends. They might even come back and buy from you. So there's a lot of cool things that come from just being a good person, just being, not being nasty, I guess you could say. And I see it all the time where people are posting that, they're trying to fight customers on a refund. And I feel like if you're doing that, maybe your margins are so small that every little refund affects you drastically. And then maybe you just have the wrong approach, the wrong product. You've got to maybe relearn some of the mechanics, some of the strategies for selling private label products. So anyways, guys, that's it. I also want to mention that we have a very active community on Facebook. Okay, it's called the Amazon FBA High Rollers. Go check that out. Go to Facebook, do a search for that. You'll see us. Or you can go to our website at ampmpodcast.com and you can click onto the Facebook link over on your right. And if you're not already doing so, please subscribe to the iTunes feed for these podcast episodes. That way you don't miss any. And until next time, guys, my name is Manny Coates. I'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the AM/PM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.